A special committee will convene next Monday to discuss U.S. destabilization efforts in Venezuela. The bloc secretary Ernesto Samper made the announcement Friday when he issued his support to the Venezuelan government and to President Nicolas Maduro against the interventionist efforts by Washington. The meeting will take place in Montevideo, Uruguay. This Saturday, the Venezuelan government launched 484 food supply stores throughout the country in efforts to counter the effects of the ongoing economic war being waged against the Venezuelan government. The state-run food agency announced that it will establish low-cost and affordable food centers as a strategy to combat hoarding of basic food products by U.S.-backed ultra-right-wing sectors of the population. In Mexico, reports of enforced disappearances have gone beyond Guerrero, where last September 43 Ayotzinapa teacher trainees went missing. Mexican newspaper La Jornada reported this Saturday that 160 people have been forcibly disappeared in a small city on the border in the state of Coahuila. Piedras Negras has a population of 130,000 people. In the last 18 months, about 150 cases of enforced disappearances have been denounced. Local organizations said state elite police squads are responsible for at least 60 of those cases. The Mexican police have launched a massive manhunt for the owner of an abandoned crematorium where 61 bodies in state of putrefaction were found. The discovery was made in Acapulco, about 160 miles away from Ayotzinapa. Preliminary investigation results suggest the owner committed fraud against the families of the deceased, charging them about $1,000 for a funeral service that was never performed. The government of Guerrero has not yet issued a statement regarding 100 other bodies that were found in mass graves in Iguala around April of last year, where the 43 Ayotzinapa students were forcibly disappeared.
Y que vengan a desinfectar con químicos y que me digan cuándo para salirme porque a mí me hace daño.
What I hope is that this man comes back to fix things, because in truth, he never cleaned up. It always smelled bad.
We continue in Mexico, where former U.S. President Bill Clinton asked the country to pardon him for his responsibility in the drug trafficking problem that Mexico is suffering today. Clinton added that during his term in office, which was 1993 to 2001, his administration launched a massive anti-narcotics operation to block drugs from entering the U.S. via air and sea, which he said had serious negative consequences in Mexico. Clinton met briefly with President Enrique Peña Nieto. In the Brazilian city of Salvador, a shootout broke out between police and a gang suspected of attempting to pull off a bank robbery. The gun battle left 12 gang members dead and 4 injured. The armed confrontation broke out when security guards approached an area where the alleged criminals were hiding out. The incident has prompted authorities to notably increase police security throughout the city, directing special focus on banks. We now turn to Russia, where German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President François Hollande held high-level talks with their Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in Moscow. Reuters reported that the leaders agreed to draft a possible joint document to implement the Minsk Agreement and bring an end to the fighting in Ukraine, which has left about 5,000 dead since April. The Franco-German peace effort is also aimed at restoring a ceasefire between European leaders, meeting next week to discuss imposing new economic sanctions against Russia. In the meantime, fighting continues in eastern Ukraine. The Russian foreign minister accused the United States of fueling the violence there while blaming Moscow. Lavrov told a European security conference in Munich that Washington has continuously taken steps that have aggravated the crisis in the Donbas region of Ukraine, where shelling could be heard. In Iraq, terrorist attacks continue to rock various parts of the country. In Baghdad, various bombings were reported. A double suicide bombing attack killed various people, raising the death toll to 36 in the last 2 days. A suicide bomber detonated his explosive vest at a popular restaurant in the New Baghdad district in the southeastern sector of the capital.
In a local restaurant in the New Baghdad area, a suicide bomber walked into the middle of a crowd eating in a restaurant. He cried, "Allah Akbar," and exploded.
Facts that have marked the course of history. Productions designed in the English language and made for the English-speaking world. This is Documentary. Watch it on telesur.net/English. Telesur, wherever the news, you'll be there.